Recorded live with little or no editing, it's Defense Up. I'm Run 7. How you doing? Today we're going over a war defense of DJ Donk, who is in chat and was talking with us, chatting with us live as we went over these. Had several super brilliant people in voice as usual, helping me to coalesce my data and get all these wonderful bits of information prepared for you, the viewer. And if you don't like the ideas that we came up with, don't blame me, blame them. That's why I bring them in here, really, just to place blame on them. All right, DJ Donk is operating in Plat 3 at 60 million TCP in war, and the idea here is that he's kind of got a min-maxed roster. He doesn't want to spend where he doesn't have to, and so there's going to be some teams that may have some better versions. Like if you're an older player, you'll have better stuff built up to throw in there, but where DJ Donk is, we're trying to do the minimum, and so we'll explain why and how you could make things better. Starting in room 1, we have the Infinity Watch. We have Moondragon as a skirmisher, and that's probably a good choice. Benny likes this especially because Moondragon will strip the positive effects off the opponents, or she's an outdated character, pretty old, so having the skirmisher bonus to her focus is going to help her strip all those positive effects. This team is probably going to lose, like 99% of the time they're gonna lose. Maybe you can trick a character into underestimating them or playing it poorly or something. But really, this tends to be a filler defense, and in war, we're not caring about efficiency. We're just trying to get defensive victories or soak up teams that would give your opponent an advantage. This isn't going to soak up much. Alternatively, we talked about maybe placing Quicksilver in here in place of Moondragon, but everybody kind of agrees it's going to draw the same thing and the same outcome is going to happen no matter whether it's Quicksilver or Moondragon. So don't waste resources building one or the other to make this team. Just place what you got and forget about it. Everything else here looking pretty good. We like to tend to put the 3 people that get revives, place them in the front row, and then the other people in the back. Gap placement, I guess, might make the team tougher, but these are just splitting hairs here. Really, it's just the Infinity Watch. Moving on to team number 2 is the Pegasus team. Now, with the Pegasus team, we like this as a defense. It's fine and everything, but it's really good at beating H for H teams. It's got several uses with Kestrel for offense. So there's a lot of stuff that we could use this for on offense. It's not a bad defense, and it's done right. We're all fine with the ISO choices. That Raider, that Fortifier on rescue, helping her to stay alive is better for defense. All in all, this team's probably going to be one of those teams that maybe draws an Eternals composition. You can use like an Eternal Loki, Kang, something like that. That's a pretty big comp to blow it up efficiently, rewind it, and destroy it. But you could also use it on offense. So whether you want it on offense or defense, it's fine. You could replace this with a Heroes for Hire or an out-of-time 4-piece or something if you wanted to replace this and use them on offense. But honestly, I think it's fine for our defensive purposes. I can give it an A. Your choice if you want to continue using it there or not. Room number 3. It's the Asgardian comp with Valkyrie. Here's the thing. This is one of those where we're like, well, we could invest in characters, we could replace characters, we could do something different. DJ Donk built the Bifrost raid team, threw them on defense, needed Loki for offensive compositions, and replaced Loki with Valkyrie. Valkyrie is going to die, probably from splash damage, on a character that's big enough to take care of that Vol. Yeah, Valkyrie's gonna die, and then she'll give her war bonus to the team. That's just how it works, cut and dry. If Vol stays alive long enough to revive Valkyrie, super, you can do it again, but maybe not. Doesn't really matter. This is just the best thing that DJ Donk can do with his roster. If you wanted, there are some variations you can do with this team. You could do a Thor and Mighty Thor in place of Sylvie and Teen Loki. They are hero Asgardians and would trigger Valkyrie. But the problem is this Valkyrie's so small, Valkyrie's gonna die first, so it doesn't really change anything, right? So if you wanted to build a Valkyrie into that gear tier 13, maybe gear tier 15 at the most, just so she can take a few hits, maybe put in a small Sif in the far corner. Sif draws the taunt and dies, and then later Valkyrie dies, and so you're getting that effect twice, and then hopefully by then Vol can revive the entire team. Those are some options for you, but it requires you to invest more in an outdated team that really isn't worth it. I think for what this team pulls, this investment is fine, especially for DJ Donk. But if you happen to have a bigger Valkyrie or some of those other members ready to go, you could try those variations in War. So for us, this is kind of like an A- team. It's utilizing resources really well, and that's why it's getting such a positive score, but it's really not that exciting. Remember, these villain Asgardians, if they die, they're not triggering Valkyrie. All right, moving on to number 4 is an Infestation team, and we have bonuses to Heroes Spider-Verse City, something or other, I don't remember. But Big Time gets a safeguard on spawn, which changes the way you play into it with a nowhere team. You no longer try and stun the Big Time since you can't, and instead you try not to hit the Big Time and take out the rest of the team without hitting him first. Now, these characters are super duper small other than Black Widow. Black Widow was built for other reasons, I think DD6 or something like that. So she goes under stealth all on her own. The other members are probably going to die in the attack, and the team's gonna fold. But either way, the idea with these lopsided Infestation teams is to force you to hit the Big Time a second time, which makes him kind of explode. Whatever you do, don't replace members of this team. It's a 5-piece team, has to be. If you take away one member of the team, Big Time doesn't, it just falls apart. It relies on charges, and it's a 5-piece team, unfortunately. So there's no plug and play action for Big Time, except for maybe utilizing him on offense. If you want to, you could build the surrounding members up to orange gear levels just so that they maybe go under stealth instead of die, and that way they can take some turns and maybe do some damage. They do really well in War if they can survive. These ones aren't. But again, this is like, is it worth the investment to build up such an old defense based on one season's War bonuses? We think not. So again, we're gonna give this an A- just because it's here. I'd like to see some ISOs on Swarm. Maybe we could take Swarm up to 100,000. I don't think it's gonna matter though. So honestly, this is what it is. And we're just gonna move on to the next team. Team number 5 is the Hive Mind with Absorbing Man as a pre-taunt. Absorbing Man does hold his taunt really well. However, the counter that beats the 5-piece Hive Mind team beats the Absorbing Man composition, and that's an Eternals, Loki, Kang, I think maybe even Emma in there. Anyway, you get ahead of the team, rewind them, work somebody down low. When Icarus ults, it double taps and wipes the team out, or at least enough of the team that you don't need to worry about it anymore. And I think Absorbing Man is one of the weaker links in it, and is going to give Icarus that ability to double tap the team off the face of the earth, and so I don't think it changes anything. However, we talked about it, and there really isn't much you can do to change this. It just kind of is what it is and draws what it draws. Any changes to this, you're either going to get the same thing or a worse counter coming into it as far as we're concerned of what we want to draw. We do want to draw an Eternals counter, and this is going to get it done. So there we go. I can give this one an A. I don't have any problems with these ISOs. I think they're just fine. And we're gonna move on to number 6. This team, we decided, is not a bad defensive team. America Chavez speeding up those Tangled members, creating charges so that Quicksilver can continue to take turns unhindered and hopefully be a big enough threat to defeat somebody. But it's not amazing, it's not exciting, and it's nothing we haven't seen before. Probably just bring in a big team to take the hits until those charges wear off, or whatever. We don't like it. What we want to do is be more effective. We want to take these Tangled members, and we want to use them over here in room number 3 with this Asgard team, replacing Team Loki and Sylvie, and we think that that's going to make this much more challenging because it'll give cover to Vol so that she can last long enough to revive the Valkyrie that boosted this team. And so that's where we want those Tangled members to go. That leaves you with a Quicksilver. If you want to place them over there with Infinity Watch or another team, you can. Again, we have a list of different defenses that you could throw in here, from leftover H for H pieces to 4-piece out of time, or even 5-piece out of time if that's the way you want to go. And then Chavez is going to be used in a team coming up. Bishop is just a pre-taunt. All right, we have in 7 the Cabal team with Emma, and I think that that Kang is a waste here. It's a 3-diamond Kang. Now, Kang gives a 5% turn meter on spawn to his allies and self on offense, but not on defense. So he's just a heavy hitter villain in this one. Not bad, synergizes with Cabal, but better used for offense. Instead, we like either Emma, Zemo, or Chavez in here. Chavez would be adjacent to Iron Patriot and Namor, speeding those two up, allowing the Cabal team to really get going. Otherwise, Zemo is a villain and he goes early, he crits, hopefully getting the team going, placing an ability block, causing some RNG. And then Emma is Emma, slowing down your opponent, and she has a buff clear. So there's lots of synergy. Those 3 characters, pick 2, place them in here. Don't use Kang. In our opinion, it's better for him on offense. He doesn't need to have his entire team. He can just be placed as a heavy hitter, but he's giving speed and he's helping you to decide what works best. I think that this team is going to kind of get wiped no matter what. If you bring in a simple Chavez and Emma, your opponent might think, well, that's not that crazy. They're just fast, right? And they might get wiped out, underestimating the team. When you see a 3-diamond Kang in here, you're bringing out the big guns. And maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want to draw bigger comps to come into it. But we didn't think that it was worth it. We like Kang on offense better. All right, team number 8 is an extreme with Rogue. It's an extreme team. Pick your flavor, place them. They draw stuff. It's a kind of known content here. One thing we did see, since we are pulling some teams from this defense, we thought maybe it would be better to put a full extreme in one room, and then you could do some variant of the unlimited with, say, Wolverine and what's his Fire Chicken or whatever his name is from the Alpha Flight team. They just got reworked for that. They could be pretty useful until we start getting that full Alpha Flight team out on defense. And we could be using other pieces of Alpha Flight elsewhere if we want to break apart that Alpha Flight until we get the full 5-piece. I think the full 5-piece Alpha Flight's going to be good once it's out. All right, but this is fine. We can give this an A and just move on. It's just the opportunity to use a 5-piece actual extreme with Sunspot instead of Rogue and move Rogue over to an unlimited team to fill some gaps for what we've been doing here today. Number 9, this is an A team out of the gates. A-. We would like to change Ghost Spider to a Raider. She doesn't have a very good ISO attack on her basic. That's for raids, putting out that blind, and it's kind of circumstantial. So let's make her a raider because she hits a lot of opponents. Otherwise, this team's fine. Lots of people having trouble with it that's getting the seasonal bonuses right now. Another thing you could do is if you wanted to, say, use Noir on a Mercs for Money defense, going faster, putting out a bleed on his first turn, or getting the assist from his first turn, I should say. You could do something like put a Black Cat in here. That's kind of yesterday's news, though. The new hot sauce is to replace either Noir or Ghost Spider with a North Star from the Alpha Flight team. So if you've got him unlocked, he comes in here. He stops people from getting charges. It reduces the amount of counters that can go into this team. It'll really work well. It'll take this team from an A to an A+. So North Star is probably the way to go. Rather than spending the currency to change that blue ISO, just drop Ghost Spider and change it with North Star. All right, and in room number 10, it's a big kitchen sink kind of team. It draws what it draws. It's here to draw out all the big stuff. It's at the end of the roster. You got a 3-diamond, 19 Robbie over there, the 7 Red Star Sus. All these things going on. You got your 2 Taunters off to one side with Black Knight in there helping against Sus counters and whatnot. There's different variations of this team. It's not super exciting. It's what people have been placing at the back of their war rosters for a while now. It's just here to soak up the big stuff. You kind of need some extra big things to go into it. I'm gonna give it an A- because it's uninspired, but it does work really well and it's done right and everything. I don't even know how you could make this any better. We're just utilizing the big pieces, the 3 Secret Defenders, the Sus, and the Black Knight. So, all in all, it's what do you want to spend your resources on? Do you want to spend resources on some old, outdated stuff to make them work better for this season's rules? Do you want to take old, outdated stuff and beef it up, hoping that it'll draw something bigger? It's really up to you. For the most part, the veterans of Marvel Strike Force tend to feel that unless you're super gung-ho about war, or you're a big Kraken spender and you can afford those luxury things, for the most part, it's best to let that stuff just go by the wayside. Let older teams get older and use them when you can, and trade up to the new stuff when you can. We have the Alpha Flight team coming out, and we highly recommend that you collect all those characters free to play and then save your cores for Sasquatch. He's a 45 shard unlock. That way you can get that team posted not only in alpha raids, but on war defense as well. So save your gold, because you'll probably be unlocking 2 characters at the same time if you have enough cores to core unlock Sasquatch and get that team moving. Lots of value there. All right, thank you to DJ Dong for sending that in. Remember, our list is too long right now. I'm not accepting applicants for either defense up on war or Crucible. We just have too many people. I'm trying to get through that list. But thank you for joining me. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for more content. We've got lots of different videos coming out, both satirical and humorous and somewhat serious. I have a hard time taking anything in Marvel Strike Force serious these days. But remember, guys, don't just have a good game. Be good to yourselves and others too, and I'll see you next time. Bye.